All right, so when Trump says it's fake news, he's telling you the truth. All right? When he tells you that 17 CIA agents are not locked up and getting ready to get executed, he's telling you the truth. He said it all along. It's all fake news. It's fake news, people. It's all fake news. Trump is here to tell us mostly the truth, mostly. Again, it's like that other character, I forgot his name. It slips my mind. But they're there to tell you the truth as you read between the lines. So if there's anybody that's in the CIA, NSA, FBI, and you're thinking about like saying something, well, you better beware, okay? Because they are chopping heads on TV, to TV choppers, TV chop blockers. I was thinking about taking a vacation. I'm not sure what. I haven't talked to my mafia boss yet to see if he's going to allow me to. But I was thinking about maybe in September or October, and then maybe even in November. Haven't decided yet. But it would be nice to to take a vacation and actually get paid for it. Because see, I never had like a real job, like that. I've always just gotten by working for myself. So anytime I had a vacation, it was just when I didn't have any work and hopefully I had some extra money. This time around, I might actually get paid for one, So I'm still debating because I want to go and explore. But then it's like you don't want to get caught. You don't want to get caught when all hell breaks loose and you're not, grounded at home. But I was thinking about in September because you have, it would be before September 11th, of course. So it's like, I guess it depends. If I go and just take a vacation in September, it would be before the 11th. And like the weekend before, or the week before, or like up to the weekend, or maybe that weekend into the 11th. And man, hopefully the second Pet Goat 2 happens, and we can just get it started. But the Pet Goat 2 thing is such pure fear porn. And I see like the people that try to dissect it, and I don't know, it just seems like there's the ones that know the most about it. It just seems like it. Now I could be wrong because again, I just go by pure speculation. I just assume things, I predict things. Sometimes they're right, mostly all the time they're wrong. So it's like whatever, but I just feel like there's YouTube Planet agents that really dissect that thing and really push fear and just to kind of tell you to, just get ready to die. I mean, it's, it is what it is, just get ready to die. So I don't know, maybe, if something happens, if it looks like nothing's really going on in September, I might try to get some time off, because I think coming up next month, it's going to slow down my work anyway. At least the job that I'm at, it's going to slow down. And but then, because here's the thing, September comes around, September 11th, but September 11th is 40 days from that point is October 21st. And October 21st, because I know that Paul Begley and the elite mouthpieces are playing out what Harold Camping said would happen, literally what he thought would happen back on May 21st, 2011, up until October 21st, 2011, that 5-month period, it gets me thinking a little bit, because the fact is, Paul Begley's going to be talking about nothing but storms and earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and hailstorms and fire and asteroids and aliens and all these things he will be talking about starting May 21st, 2011 on, for at least the next 10 days to the 21 days. So that's what he was talking about before he talked about it. And it's on record that that's what he was doing. So, I'm a little cautious with where I'm deciding that I might go, because they are playing out the 5-month period of scorpions, stinging men, and locusts, and bloody harmoose, and everything that... It's like everything that Harold Camping thought would happen for that literal 5-month period, 7 and 8 of the 8th year ago, going into the 8th, just about, October. Because they're doing that, it kind of makes me feel like this is that 5-month period, and it eventually. Now, if it is the 5-month period, then I'm gonna have to say that September 11th would have to be a major catastrophe. 91119. It's the perfect mirror image of 911. That is textbook, skull and bones. I would know, of course, I would know. 322 223. So 91119, because it's 9 and then it's 3 ones and then it's 9 again. It's a complete perfect mirror image. Oh, I didn't know what he was doing. So what I'm saying is, if this is that 5-month period where war's supposed to, towards the end there, it's supposed to kick off. If this is that 5-month period, then September 11th should be after, 18 years, right? After 18 years, and then going into the 19th year. 18, 17, 18, something like that, of the 9/11. Look, it's going to happen. It just is. It's being prolonged. They're doing that on purpose. It gets to the point where, where I'm at right now. Like, all right, let's go. But if nothing does happen on September 11th, then it's just gonna be prolonged some more. But August, see, there's a thing about August 11th. I know the Rapture King is pushing the rapture. He's been set on that date for a couple months now. So, because before that it was like, let's see, how about next week? Next week is a good rapture date. Now this time he said it way ahead of time, didn't you, Fletcher? So you have that, and then August 11th I remember Trump was always talking about the number 30 and the number 40 and the 304,000 days. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a 30-day period and there's a 40-day period, because there's a 30-day decree that still hasn't been signed yet. Because once you start praying to your God for 30 days and up to that point, to the end of 30 days, that 30-day period, well, August 11th, just because the mouthpieces are talking about these things, I pull that little bit of information and say, all right, August 11th, 30 days from there is September 11th. And so it's fitting that this year is the year that the stuff happens and the change, and because we're just into the 7th and of the 8th year, 2011 was the beginning of the awakening. So from that point, it's 30 days up to September 11th. And then from that point, it's 40 days. So it's like, so what happens September 11th? And not only that, what happens like 3 days or so before that, September 11th? What happens on September 7th or 8th, or September 7th going into the 8th? Because there's a theme here with the 7th and into the 8th of everything. Look, they have the date. I'm just guessing, you know, when are they going to really push that play button? I don't know. So I thought about this too. What if everything was real? Like, what if the sky was real? What if the moon wasn't a holographic Batman, like, shot up into the sky image, like Batmobile? Come help. What if the moon wasn't fake and the sun was our real sun and the clouds are really clouds? And then the elite are sitting back laughing at us like, oh man, they think we made that. Oh man, that's so great. They think we're God. And meanwhile, it's like, this is all God's, and here I am thinking that it's all fake, discrediting God all the way through. Do you think he would punish me for that? Like, do you think I would get scorned for not believing that it's his creation, even though I'm giving him credit for it because I know it's his material? And I'm saying that the stuff, the sky above us is still real, you know, we just can't see it. That would be pretty awkward, right? And then, you know, what if that character, right? I'm not saying any names, okay? But what if that character, right, was really a vicious murderer and a killer? Well, that's the same thing. And what if he really was, or it's like, what if he really was that way, and then I come strolling up to my enemy's house, like, yeah, it's not gonna happen, clown. Who do you think you are? And then and the next thing you know, it's like I get shot or something, or I get kidnapped and I get a ritual sacrifice, or I get hung upside down, or, you know, something like that. I would be like, man, this is crazy. Oh, wait a minute, you mean you really are gonna kill me? Like, huh? And then he's like, and then as they like start chopping each finger off, like, yeah, son of a bitch, we're gonna kill you. Like, oh crap, this is real. You guys are serious. That would be pretty awkward too, right? But then I'm thinking, September, you know, October, I don't know if I really want to be traveling anywhere in October, because I'm really banking on like October 18th or so. So there's a couple timelines that I think about, and it's usually like 3 days before the actual day, because there's something about like 3 days beforehand, or even 7 days beforehand, where you'll kind of get a clear warning. Like the media and the mouthpieces, they will give you a clear warning, but they do that all the time. They give you like that bait warning, and then you think it's clear at the time, and then it's just another one of those things that they try to prolong just to annoy you. I don't know. October 21st. It's going to be eight years of that warning about the world coming to an end. When it's never coming to an end. The actual earth isn't coming to an end. It's not going to get burned up. People have died, of course, in the wars before this time the timeline right now, because there was a point where everybody was not in on it, and there was a point where God put it into all their hearts to agree. So at what point did that start happening? And I think that point was, well, it was May 21st, 2011, where they all started to agree to just put their plan together, and then just throw a bunch of crisis actors in there and a bunch of threats, and because the Bible did say don't be afraid of their faces. And wouldn't it be funny too if the elite wrote the Bible and they played this, and I'm not saying they did, but if they did, and they wrote the Bible the way that they did, and then all of a sudden it's coming true right in front of their eyes the way that they wrote it. Real people are rising up, playing the role without even knowing that they're playing the role. And then that's because the Pharisees, the Sadducees, they all have a tremendous amount of knowledge of the Bible, and I don't know. I just don't know the entire Bible. I don't know all the stories. But the Pharisees and Sadducees, they do know. They know all the stories. So when they see things happen and they're in charge of surveillance, that's when things start coming to life for them. That's why the Gang Stalking Corporation is necessary, because it's surveillance. The leaders of the world are the ones surveilling us. So they are the Pharisees, they are the Sadducees. They're the ones with all the knowledge of the Bible, and they don't believe it. Except for now they do. Over the past 7 years, God's been working on changing their hearts, and it started with Harold Camping. Started with him. And I know a lot of people hate him, but that's because you're just a hypocrite yourself, and you hate people. How can you hate anybody? If you say you love God, how can you hate another human being when God's the one that created all these human beings? And on top of that, it's kind of like, everybody's created their own way where they have to figure out who's talking to them in their head, and they have to get a grip of their thoughts. And then once you finally get a grip of your thoughts, it doesn't matter what you look like, what your outside appearance is, you can all become the same on the inside. And that's where it goes, where when you got these pastors that are up there preaching, and they've either been married a couple times or divorced or whatever, inconsistency in their life, it kind of shows that, well, they're just not consistent. if you are, what, referring to the messiahs, I'm sorry, I should have made that clear. Referring to the messiahs, the ones that are alone, they're alone, or they had a wife and they're no longer there, they didn't make it work. If you're the Messiah, you should at least have some kind of background of something being consistent with your marriage. But then, when you're a Pharisee and a Sadducee, and when you also have the other books that have been like squeezed out of the Bible, if that's the case, you got that squeezed out, but then you kind of know already what the truth is, because it's like the Bible is written by God. They do know that, but they don't believe it per se. It's kind of weird. They kind of believe it, but then they don't. But then now they do, because they're seeing it come to life. So when they know the truth, and it's like, well, all right, well, look, this is what we're going to teach the entire world. Okay, Satan's a prick and Christ is perfect. All right, a perfect prick, both of them together, and we're going to teach it that way. And everybody's going to say, I can't compare to Christ. He's perfect. He was a human being, of course, in the flesh. Man, it must have been amazing how he never sinned in his entire life. Even from a baby, even though a baby's just born like not knowing anything, but it's just amazing. So what we'll do is we'll make it seem where Christ was absolutely perfect, never committed a sin, even though when the Bible talks about not committing a sin, it's talking about spiritually on the inside, not talking about the flesh itself, because the flesh itself, Satan rules the flesh. Just try not to eat for a day. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. No, don't try not to eat. Do not eat for one day. Set your mind to not eating, that you are not going to eat this day. And then you'll hear loud and clear those sounds, those sounds that Kleck's talking about in his own head. Because, the Lord told him, voices in your head. Do you hear voices in your head? Or are they really voices, or are they audio sounds? Is it where you can talk to yourself, you can hear yourself talk, or you can literally like talk out loud to yourself? Does anybody really think Kleck hears the Lord like that? Because I'll tell you, he sure makes it sound like the Lord is like speaking to him with sentences, paragraphs, just direction, like every which way possible. So anyway, enough of him. I think I closed the chapter on that guy. How's his court case going, by the way? I'm not sure how it went. I can only take so much of certain people at certain times. Hey, I didn't know this. I didn't know that when JFK, when that production of his head blowing off the side of the cap of his head, and everybody staged getting in position right before the blast went off, and everybody's like leaning over and looking back like, you good? You ready? You good, John? You got the power pumper? You got the pop thing that goes like that? You ready? All right. You ready? Pastor? Hey, wait, is John here? I forget. You ready, John's wife? I forget what her name is. And then and I was like, pfft. So before that, it was what, a few days beforehand. That bald-headed guy, what's his name? I don't know, I'm drawing blanks here. Martin Luther King. Yeah, Martin Luther King. Didn't he go and see him? Like, is there some kind of conspiracy about that? Where he went and seen him a few days before he got assassinated? According to the script. I don't believe he got assassinated, and I don't believe JFK got... I don't believe Rodney Dangerfield got assassinated. I just don't believe any of them did. I think it's all a farce. I think they're lying to us. And then they just go off into their little land, and they're, like Michael Jackson. I truly believe that Michael Jackson put a facade on his face up until he's 50 years old. That way, he's recognized as Michael Jackson like that, with the weird nose and bleached skin. And then when he decides to be himself, just peel off the mask. He's back to being regular Michael Jackson, regular skin tone and everything. But nobody will even recognize him. I think that's the way they work. So everything is not as it seems. Nobody's really dying on TV like that. People in real life, yeah, stuff happens on the streets. Everybody dies eventually, but not the way that they're saying we are. The war, nobody's dropping serious bombs on anybody and killing them. The 9/11 building, it did come down. That did happen, obviously. They're not there anymore. How it happened, it's not the way it didn't happen the way that they said it did. It happened the way that they are saying it didn't. That's how it happened. So people do die. It's just not the way that they make it seem. That's all. That's all I've been trying to say. Just why do you believe everything that you hear on the mainstream media? But that's more than I thought I would have to say.